Imagine going more than 60 years without sleeping. This is the reality of Thai Ngoc, a Vietnamese man who claims not to have slept for decades, defying science and common sense. Sleep is essential for life, but Ngoc seems to survive without it, becoming a true enigma. Today we will explore this fascinating story and question the limits of the human body. Thai Ngoc, also known as Thai Ngoc, was born and raised in a small rural village in Vietnam, where he leads a simple life as a farmer. But his life changed drastically in 1962. Ngoc reports that, after a severe fever, he completely lost the ability to sleep. The most surprising thing? He claims that he has never slept since. In the eyes of the medical community, this is an inexplicable phenomenon. We all know that the human body needs rest to repair and recharge itself. However, Thai Ngoc continued his life seemingly without major changes. In the early years, he says he tried everything to get some sleep, medication, alternative treatments, but nothing worked. Even so, he kept up his work routine as a farmer, taking care of his crops and his family. Over time, his condition became a curiosity for the local community, until eventually his story began to attract international attention. To understand what makes this story so extraordinary, we need to remember what happens to our bodies when we don't sleep. Sleep deprivation can cause a series of devastating effects, such as hallucinations, memory loss, low immunity, and in extreme cases, it can lead to death. Research shows that after 24 hours without sleep, we begin to lose focus and the ability to make decisions. After 48 hours, the mind goes into a state of confusion. And if we go more than 72 hours without sleep, the damage can become irreversible. So how does Thai Ngoc manage to continue his daily activities without showing visible signs of exhaustion or deterioration? His claim that he had not slept for over 60 years defied everything we know about human biological needs. This intrigued doctors and scientists and led them to investigate the case further. When Thai Ngoc's story became known, medical teams visited his village in Vietnam to try to understand what was happening. Ngoc underwent several tests, including monitoring of his brain activity. Surprisingly, the results showed no serious abnormalities. He appeared to be healthy, with no signs of chronic sleep deprivation. One theory is that Ngoc's body has developed some sort of coping mechanism, compensating for the lack of sleep in ways that we do not yet understand. During the test, doctors monitored him for several days, but he never fell asleep. The situation is so unusual that even the doctors who examined him have admitted that they cannot fully explain what is happening. One of the most fascinating mysteries of Thai Ngoc's case is how his body not only survives, but appears to function normally without the need for sleep. One of the hypotheses put forward by experts is that of microsleeps. These are short periods of rest that the brain can experience without the person realizing it. During these microsleeps, the brain shuts down for fractions of a second, allowing for a kind of minimal recovery. This could explain how Ngoc manages to maintain his work routine without collapsing from exhaustion. Another theory suggests that he may have a rare genetic condition that prevents him from feeling the debilitating effects of sleep deprivation. There are some rare diseases, such as fatal familial insomnia, that affect the ability to sleep, but this condition can be fatal in a short time. In Ngoc's case, he has lived for more than 60 years without sleep, which makes this hypothesis less likely. The case of Thai Ngoc raises a fascinating question. How far is the human body capable of adapting? Science shows us that the human body has an incredible capacity to adapt to extreme situations. For example, people who live at high altitudes develop mechanisms to deal with the lack of oxygen. So, has Ngoc's body found a way to effectively cope with sleep deprivation? Another interesting thought is how our bodies can adjust to what we consider essential needs. In Ngoc's case, he seems to have adapted to his new reality, managing to live a practically normal life without the rest that we all consider indispensable. Despite being such a rare and fascinating case, Thai Ngoc's story has not received the worldwide attention it deserves. Part of this can be explained by the location of his life. Ngoc lives in a remote village in Vietnam, far from the big cities and the media spotlight. Furthermore, since he lives a relatively quiet life without any major dramatic events, his story has not been widely publicized. Another factor that may have contributed to the lack of visibility is skepticism. Many people doubt the veracity of this story since it goes against everything we know about how the human body works. Even though doctors have confirmed that he does not appear to sleep, the lack of concrete scientific explanations means that many still view this story with a certain amount of distrust. Thai Ngoc's story leads us to question the limits of the human body and what we really know about the fundamental needs of life. Could it be that science still has a lot to discover about how we function? Cases like Ngoc's show that, despite our advancements in medical and scientific knowledge, there are still mysteries that defy our understanding. Ultimately, Thai Ngoc's life is an example of the human body's incredible ability to adapt to the most adverse situations. And even though science still doesn't have all the answers, the simple fact that her story exists makes us reflect on how we are more complex than we imagine. If you were as intrigued as I was by Thai Ngoc's story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This helps a lot to continue bringing more curious and fascinating content like this. And before you leave, another video is already appearing on the screen that I'm sure will surprise you even more. Click on it now and continue exploring the mysteries of the world. Thanks for watching, and until next time.